Hey there, are you a fellow artist looking to improve your line art game? Or simply someone who is looking to expand their knowledge on Clip Studio and what the tools available to you within it? Well, you've come to the right place, as today I will walk you through a couple of cool things that you can do within Clip Studio's vector layers, and I think anyone working with line art should opt to move towards using these to save themselves a ton of time. First off comes to creating the vector layer itself. You can find the create vector layer option close to the regular new layer option down here in the bottom right. New vector layer, I already have one created, so we're not going to be worrying about that. Now, a thing to note, Clip Studio doesn't have quite as much going for it with its vector layers compared to a more dedicated tool like maybe Illustrator or Inkscape, but it does have enough to really save you some time and effort when it comes to creating your art. Now, any brush you use within Clip Studio's vector layers will have the stroke created converted to a vector path of sorts with editable points. If we create this little loopy right here, if I hold control and click this line, you see any of these control points are editable. You can click them, you can drag them around, and with enough time and patience, you could really manipulate these as is in just about any way you would want. Well, don't just sit here picking at individual dots all day. Let's instead look at some of the many tools Clip Studio has to offer for line manipulation within these vector layers. After you have a stroke you would like to edit, let's just make another little simple curve like that. Go ahead and hit Y as the default key to open up the correct line tool here. The correct line tool submenu will give you a list of tools that you can and should use to save you a ton of time when it comes to inking your character. Starting at the top of this list here, we have the control point. Now, the control point tool here allows for you to kind of just edit these. These are your control points that we just went over. You can add more, move them, delete them, cut lines, and do whatever with this. But you're not really going to find yourself using this tool too much. Instead, the main tools we're after in this menu are going to be the pinch vector line tool, connect vector lines, and adjust line width. And in some cases, you can see yourself using the redraw vector line. But let's focus mainly on pinch for now. What pinch is going to allow you to do is to set your pinch level here from lowest to highest in terms of bend level. Let's set it for 1 for a quick example. And you're going to come to your vector line. Now at 1, we're not really going to be editing a whole lot. You see, I can click it and drag it. And at pinch level 1, it's just affecting a couple of these little control points around where we've graphed. However, as we move up, let's say to level 4, the more of this line we're going to be able to manipulate. Now, I'm sure for some of you that's already got some gears turning in your head, though, how this is going to be applicable in your art and how useful it will be over time as you learn to use it. Now, with that, we also have adjust line width. This one, I can't really tell you what scale up and all these do. I have not messed with them too much. I primarily use thicken and narrow, and they do exactly what they sound like they would do. Have this line, let's say we want to make it a little thinner in this point. Click it a few times. You can set the pixel count here by how much you want to do this, but I just left it at 1 by default here. Click it, at any point on this line, you can thicken it, make it more narrow, edit it any way you want. This is perfect for edits for, let's say, curves here, for example. In some cases, when you want to apply weight to your line art, these round parts or these curves are usually going to be a little thicker compared to more of a straight edge or a thin point. So you can use that for this exact purpose. Thicken those edges, manipulate them. Now, it's not going to be perfect, and in some cases, if you prefer, you can just redraw your line. But that's not what the point of this video is. I'm here to show you all these fun little tools to where you want to be a little lazy. You want the quick fix way to make things look better and to save yourself time. That's why we're here. Redraw vector line allows for me to grab this point anywhere I want and redraw it. Granted, it doesn't always work the best, and I would really just recommend undoing or erasing and redrawing the line that way compared to using the redraw tool here. Now, the redraw width can be a little more useful if you know how to use it. For me, it seems like it's incredibly it's not right at all, because the slightest touch sends me to a teeny tiny pixel, but you can make it work. Again, I would likely just use the adjust line width tool and kind of go through various points and do it that way. Now, after you've explored your option in this edit menu, there's some other things of note I want you to be aware of. Mainly, the special vector eraser within the eraser tool menu here. Normally you'll probably start up top with like hard or soft something, but if you go down, there is a special vector eraser. And what this does is it typically erases an entire line to a particular point. I have it set to where it erases up to an intersection. What that means is the moment it comes in contact with another line here, that is your intersection. Let's say, I don't like this inside corner bit going on here of this triangle. Well, boom. Hit that intersection, delete it up to it, delete it up to this one. We are left now with this shape. Also, they are not connected because I didn't connect them, but you know what I mean here. These are now erased. I can do the same thing. If I drag it in here, boom, it's gone. You want to be using this. A good application for this is, say you are drawing a square here, or you're trying to, let's say we have a line here and I'm trying to curve over to it. Well, shoot, that messed up. Boom, boom. You can fix that corner there, no problem. Hit control, drag that a little bit, edit the width as you would see fit. That curve is complete. We could go in even to connect vector lines. This is another important one. Bam. By damn, I mean bam. Connect them. Now we have a solid line here. Want this box to be cleaner? Shave off these edges. There you go. You now have a square. The vector eraser tool is crucial to line art with these layers. You want to be using it. Absolutely. Because I know a lot of people will come in and they'll try to treat vector layers as if they are a regular layer. You do not want to do that. If you're coming into vector layers, you don't want to be feathering edges like this. If you are someone who struggles with curves, try to draw a line as best you can. And instead, you're going to want to use the pinch tool to come in and curve or correct this line as you would like it. You do not want to be feathering in vector layers, because you're going to be left with each of these. If I feather like this, all of these are now new lines that are editable, and it's going to be perform really weird if you go to pinch and then, oh wait, no, I wanted this whole section here to move, but we're not doing that. We're doing all of it. You don't want to feather in your vector layers. You want to make sure you are using as little lines as possible to get broad, smooth regions like this curve, for example. Again, if you struggle with getting a curve and it's not right in one stroke, you're gonna have to practice some, get your arms used to making these little strokes like that, these C shapes and whatnot. But get used to using this pinch tool and play around with it, and that allows you to correct this however you want. Make it smaller, bring it in, hold control, you can move that entire thing, rotate it how you like. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you another cool thing you can do. Let's say we did all this with the default G pin here, but maybe your character, you decide you want to play around with other line, like other brushes, but you don't want to undo all that line work you just spent hours doing. Well, what you can do is come up to the operation menu here in the object tool. With this, you can click any layer here, any line, not layer, any line, I just shift clicked all these, see them all selected. And you can come under here. One, you can adjust the individual size of all of these lines. And you can also adjust the brush shape. And what the brush shape does, it brings up this menu where you can choose from a number of pins here, and it becomes that brush. Now you're looking and you'll see the default selection and be like, well, I don't want any of these. You know, I already had the pen. Pencil looks like garbage. Look at that. I don't like that. All of these aren't what I want. I want my own brush. Well, little Timmy, I'm going to show you how to make your own brush a selectable resource here. So what you're going to do is go to any brush of your choosing. I'm going to use this cream brush sketch modified thing I have here. Go to the subtool detail menu here, the little wrench, and you're going to go to brush shape. And whatever you have for your brush, you're going to click add to presets here. See, I've added that. Now, if I go back to my object tool and I click this line and I go to brush shape, bam, there is my sketch tool. And now this vector line, this vector path has been converted to your unique brush. So this lets you really play around with your character or whatever you're drawing to see what brush really feels best. Yeah, these have just been a few of the tools that you can use. Again, I highly encourage playing around with everything in this correct line menu and finding out how to use everything a bit more to your liking within them all. And I know what I just showed there, some people will find very useful, or if you accidentally do a particular sketch or brush you're not a big fan of, you don't have to redo it all. Click it in the object, use that option to just change it, boom. Don't have lines you like, they aren't working out, having accidental intersections, vector eraser, get it out. This curve isn't what you like, go up a pinch, adjust your strength, boom, move it around however you want. These tools are crucial to saving you time and headache in lining your characters however you want. One other final thing I would like to recommend is filling. Anytime you're going to do color, you're not doing color within the vector layers. It does not even allow for the fill bucket to be used. However, on a layer below, if you were using fill bucket, for one, it's hit or miss depending on how you set it up. I don't have mine set up perfectly. I can adjust it more. But the biggest thing, you want to go ahead and enable that you fill up to a vector path. This is going to give you the smoothest fill underneath a vector layer. Like that. There's going to be very little gaps here. The only reason this looks weird is opacity in the brush itself. Smooth fills. If that wasn't a vector layer and my bucket wasn't set up entirely correctly, it would have more feathery bits or be more little dots where it doesn't miss, or maybe the corners are especially bad. So I would have to look out a lot more compared to when I had my bucket set to fill to a vector path. Very, very handy. And one other thing I would like to point out comes down to, you're not really going to be using this with vector. This is more of a another little fun fact thing to throw in, away from all the vector stuff and shitty lines we have going on here. But over here under your brush effects, you can enable a border. And what this lets you do is you would go, select an edge color. You can use these within your vector as well, actually. And that'll let you add a border to any brush that you have, any stroke you have created. It allows you to quickly increase the edge Let's say I did white one. And you can't notice that. What if I change the paper background to more of a gray? Then boom, we have that. Or I put it back to being black. And I instead have my stroke be white. This gives you a cool outline effect. Very, very handy. Great for lettering, can be good for kind of experiment. I see a lot of people use it when it comes to like exploring hair or chain links, anything like that. This. Very, very handy tool for kind of roughing out special shapes and objects like that would normally take you a bit more tweaking. Yeah, those have just been a few things I wanted to share. I've had a lot of artists I'm working with who didn't know all of these vector tools and how to use them properly, so part of this is making it in hopes that they are able to see it and use these tools more to their better ability. Help you guys out in creating cool characters and their lines and just getting you a lot more efficient and effective as you go down your art journey. But yeah, I don't do a whole lot of art stuff here. It's a lot of mainly gaming. I'll mix in art here and there, but if you like the idea of seeing more stuff, maybe leave some recommendations, maybe subscribe, and I'll see you around. Farewell.